midpoint, what it is, how to find it. So the midpoint is a point on a line segment that divides it into two equal segments. So you got something that is that you can fold in half. Imagine folding it perfectly in half. The point where that happens is the midpoint. Okay, it's also kind of like the average of two places, right? It's right there in the middle. Fun little song, not a singer, fair warning. But the little chant is midpoint, midpoint. What do? Add them together and divide by 2. Easy way to remember the formula. So if you want to sing that out loud, go ahead and do so now. All right, now let's use that to actually solve some midpoint formulas. Okay, I'm actually only going to do example 1 and 3 because 2 and 4 are just like it. If you get curious and you want to do 2 and 4 and see if you get them correct, remember you can always check OneNote in the Canvas course and you can see the entire booklet worked out to check your work, okay? All right, so example 1, we have M in the middle of the segment PQ. So let's draw that so we know what we're talking about here. We have P and Q, except it's on a coordinate plane, but M is directly in the middle. Okay, and that wasn't very good in the middle, but you get the idea there. More towards middle like that. All right, but of course, going to 4, -14 and 8, -6, it's going to make it, not a straight line. It's going to be diagonal of some sort. Okay. Lucky for us, the formula is pretty simple. So we have X values, we have Y values. Our final answer, if we do this right, is just going to be some number, comma, some number as an XY point. Okay, so I'm going to add the X's together. So 4 plus 8, and then divide it by 2. So midpoint, midpoint, what do? Add them together and divide by 2. All right, and then we're going to take the Y values and do the same thing. So -14 plus -6 and divide them by 2. All right, so 8 plus 4 is 12 divided by 2. -14 plus -6, they're the same sign, so I add them, so that becomes -20 divided by 2. So take half of each of those, and I get 6, -10. You can plot those on a graph and see that, yes, 6, -10 is on that line segment, and it's directly in the middle of those two. So example 3. I actually like the picture visual better because I can take a good guess as to where the halfway point is. So imagine you're walking this line. Where's the halfway point-ish? I'm going to take a guess it's somewhere right there. Now, in math, we don't like just taking guesses. We like to take the guess at first to see if it helps us, but then we like to prove it. No, that does not mean we have to do a proof. In this case, we're going to use our formula as our proof. So where is this point? This point is at -1, -5. Where's this point? It is at 4, -2. Suddenly, this becomes a problem just like the other problem. So take your X values. I'll keep the colors consistent here. I'll highlight X in green. So 4 plus -1. You could totally do it in the other order. It'll work the same. Just whatever whichever coordinate you use first, make sure to use it first for the Y value too. So now -2 plus -5. And then divided by 2. 4 plus -1 is the same thing as 4 minus 1, so that's 3/2. I'll back up. 4 plus -1 is 3 divided by 2. Okay. All right, -2 plus -5 is -7. That's still divided by 2. This is, let me scroll that up a little bit, this is an appropriate answer. This is fine. However, some of us, when we're thinking about a number line, we're like, okay, you told me that's an appropriate answer, but is it the right answer? I don't know. Well, If I told you that if I put 3 divided by 2 in the calculator and get 1.5, or maybe I know that, which is even better, okay? Negative 7 halves, same idea. It is actually negative 3.5. Now, does that look like where I put my halfway point there? Is that at 1.5 comma negative 3.5? Yes. So I accurately found the midpoint. Right? Remember, again, you can check OneNote for the other two examples.